6. If you're a sixth grader, you're probably laughing at this one. Why is it not pronounced as sex? Because most of the time in the German language, an S at the beginning of a word will be pronounced like a Z. Like, for example, in Sandra, or Sonne, or Suppe, or Super. Super, Suppe. Notice that we have two different S sounds and that they're both present in this little word. The string S that gets pronounced as an Z at the beginning of a word, and a soft S that gets pronounced as an S. Sechs. While we are talking about the letter S, I must mention two different combinations, ST and SP. While there is obviously a letter S written here, in the combination with the letter T, it gets pronounced as st, and in the combination with the letter P, it gets pronounced as sp. Like in Stift, Stuhl, Sprechen, or Straße. Oh yes, and this S. This S is called scharfes S, or sharp S, or SZ. It's basically a double S. So why do we have this letter in German? The difference is in the pronunciation speed. The double S gets used only after a short vowel. Remember how we said that a double consonant makes a word a little bit more faster? The same is with a double S, like for example in Essen, Tasse, or Schloss. The scharfe S, on the contrary, is big and slow, and it gets used after a slow vowel, like for example in die Straße, or for example der Gruß, or another number that you will learn later, 30. There is another combination with the letter S, and it's called the SCH. But let me first tell you the story about the German H. The letter H in German is a strange little fellow. When he's alone, he will not be pronounced and stay silent. Like for example in 10. You don't hear it. Except when it's found at the beginning of the word. Then you will hear the h. Like for example in Haus, Hand, Herz, and similar. But the letter H has some friends. Some of his favorite ones is the letter C. When these two are combined together, they will always make the sound H, even in the middle of the word. For example in kochen or sprechen. And then sometimes even the letter S joins them in the party. This is when they make the SCH. The SCH will be pronounced as the sound sh. Like for example in schnell or schmutzig. And sometimes, just sometimes, the letter T will also join in the party. Then we will get a really special sound, the sound ch. Like for example in Deutsch. 7. Perfect number to repeat some of the things we already learned. S at the beginning of a word, pronounced as a Z. The diphthong I, E, pronounced like a long, slow E. You got this. 8. Remember our friend, the letter H in German? How it's always silent when it's alone except at the beginning of the word, but if it pairs with his friend, the letter C, it will make a sound, exactly like here, 8. 9. Remember the German diphthongs, two letters that go together and always get pronounced the same way? Like E, I that gets pronounced as I, and I, E that gets pronounced as a long, slow E? Well, congratulations, here is another one. E, U. And it gets pronounced as Oi. Like for example in Europa or Euro. 10. The silent H in the middle of the word, and the Z that gets pronounced as ts. elf. Let's take a second here and focus on the consonant E. Listen closely how it's pronounced in German. Elf. Exactly. The letter E is called E in German because it's pronounced like the E in bed or select. For example, in gehen or Ente. Well, now that we already learned this one, let's learn the rest of the consonants as well. The consonant I is pronounced like E in German, like you would say in cheese. For example, in ich or immer. The German A is pronounced as A, like in father, for example. Like in der Apfel, die Zahl, or aber. The German O sound is similar, but not the same as the English one. Listen to it here. Die Sonne, or wohnen. And the U. It's pronounced like U, like the end of U. For example, in Kuchen, Fuß, or Stunde. But that's not all. Besides the consonants, we also have the diphthongs. Remember these? The letters that come together and get pronounced together? We already learned two of them, I and E. And let's check out two more. Au. A and U gets pronounced as au, like in Auge or auch or aus. And E and U. Together they get pronounced as oi, like in Europa, neu or heute. Zwölf. You met our friend with the smiley face, the U mit Umlaut, the two little dots. And here is another one from the family, the O mit Umlaut. To say Ö, just form your lips like you want to say the O, but instead of that, try to say E. Ö. And you get it. Ö. And here is also the third letter with an umlaut, A mit Umlaut. It gets pronounced as A. So basically like a long, loose, relaxed and chilled out E. Like for example in head. Head. And that's it.